Welcome back to Dream Rise. Have you ever considered how much your ego dictates your actions and decisions? This question might appear simple, but it offers a unique opportunity for introspection. It triggers a journey into the intricate labyrinth of our minds where the ego resides. The ego, our perceived self, plays a significant role in shaping us. More often than not, it's the silent puppeteer manipulating our actions, decisions, victories, and disappointments. Today, we are unraveling the perplexing of the ego through the lens of an intriguing book named Ego is the Enemy. This book isn't just another self-help guide. It doesn't focus on expanding your self-esteem or bolstering your confidence. On the contrary, it enlightens us about the profound yet often overlooked influence of ego on our lives. The book suggests that our ego frequently obstructs our path to personal growth. It's the invisible whisper in our ear, falsely assuring us that we are perfect, that there's no need for improvement or evolution. But the truth is, that whisper is misleading. Our ego often breeds complacency, blinding us to our shortcomings, hindering us from unlocking our true potential. The ego can make us defensive, compelling us to disregard constructive criticism and valuable advice. It can make us arrogant, causing an underestimation of others and an overestimation of ourselves. Ultimately, the ego can become a formidable adversary, standing in the way of progress. However, the ego's power can be harnessed rather than feared. By acknowledging its influence and understanding its mechanisms, we can learn to master it rather than be governed by it. We can transform it into a tool for self-improvement rather than allowing it to remain a barrier. Confronting your ego requires courage. It compels you to confront the way you perceive yourself and the world. It's not an easy task, but it's a journey worth undertaking. Are you ready to challenge your ego? Are you prepared to shift your perceptions and embark on a path of growth? We're about to embark on a journey exploring how ego can be the enemy as told through the chapters of this insightful book. Chapter 1, entitled Aspire, dives into our ambitions and desires. This initial chapter begins our journey through the intricate labyrinth of human ambition and the powerful, insistent voice of the ego. The chapter is an exploration, a deep dive into the curious interplay between these two aspects of our personality that both drive us forward and, in some cases, can cause our undoing. We often find ourselves motivated and driven by our ambitions, which are largely fueled by the ego. These ambitions act as the compass in our life, guiding us and providing a sense of direction. Our ambitions can indeed be a strong force, pushing us to stretch our boundaries, to go beyond our comfort zone, and to achieve what seemed impossible. They can empower us to progress, to overcome obstacles, and to face challenges head-on. Our ambitions can serve as the spark that lights the fire of determination within us and drives us to pursue our dreams tirelessly. However, as we delve deeper into this chapter, we realize that when these ambitions are unchecked, they can be the very cause of our downfall. There are times when our ambition, distorted by the ego's influence, leads us down a path of destructive behaviors and poor decisions. Our aspirations, once pure and purpose-driven, can be corrupted and become purely self-serving. Our dreams evolve into relentless obsessions, causing us to lose sight of what truly matters. Moreover, the ego, in its endless pursuit of recognition, can often blind us to the harsh realities of our situation. It can distort our perspective, cloud our judgment, and make us oblivious to the consequences of our actions. As we turn the pages of this chapter, we become more aware of how the unchecked ego can create a false narrative in our minds, one that deviates from reality. The main message, the crux of this chapter, emphasizes the significance of keeping our ambitions control. It teaches us to strive, to aspire, to reach for the stars with determination and tenacity, yet remain grounded in humility and self-awareness, to pursue our dreams without losing sight of who we are and the values we hold dear. In conclusion, we are reminded that our aspirations must not exist in isolation. They must be coupled with humility and self-awareness. Our dreams, our ambitions should not blind us to our own limitations or the impact of our actions on others. So, as we can see, our aspirations must be coupled with humility and self-awareness. Success, a word laced with promise and peril. It is a remarkable dichotomy, isn't it? Today we're peeling back the layers of the second chapter in our philosophical exploration of the riveting book, Ego is the Enemy. This chapter unravels the intricate, multifaceted essence of success. It paints an illuminating and at times sobering portrait of success as a double-edged sword, an instrument that can either shield or inflict injury, contingent on the way we choose to brandish it. When we stand triumphant, reveling in our hard-earned victories, it's all too natural for the ego to bask in the warm, intoxicating glow of accomplishment. We indulge in the audience's applause, their admiration, we soak up the accolades like a sponge. It's a heady feeling, one where we feel invincible, but that's precisely when the danger begins to stealthily creep in. The book posits an interesting theory. Success can nurture our ego, causing it to amplify, to become more assertive, even tyrannical. It can coax us towards a slippery slope that descends into arrogance, an echo chamber where we convince ourselves of our invulnerability, that we've unraveled life's mysteries. But as the book astutely reminds us, we couldn't be further from the truth. The euphoria of success doesn't render us infallible. We aren't cloaked in an armor that makes us impervious to errors, failures, or life's unforeseen curveballs. The author drives this point home, imploring us to stay anchored in reality, to remain rooted in humility, even as we ascend the ladder of success. The book nudges us to question success, to appreciate it, but also to stay cautious. It implores us to view success as a stepping stone, paving the way towards continued expansion, rather than a lofty pedestal from which to gaze condescendingly at others. It echoes the wisdom of remembering our origins, our journey, the adversity and challenges we've surmounted to arrive at this juncture. Furthermore, it imparts a vital lesson. Success isn't the culmination of our journey, it's a part of the odyssey. A landmark to celebrate, yes, but also a gentle nudge reminding us of the endless avenues to explore, the ceaseless opportunities to learn and grow. So the next time success comes knocking at your door, welcome it with open arms, but ensure that it doesn't cloud your judgment or inflate your ego. Use it as an impetus, a catalyst for your journey of continued growth, and remember to stay grounded in humility. Because remember, true success lies not in our ego's satisfaction, but in our continued growth in humility. Failure, an inevitable part of life. This is a lesson that finds us all at some point during our journey, but what we frequently overlook is the significant influence our ego has on these failures. The book Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday provides great insight into the tangled relationship between ego and failure. It's not a connection of direct causation, with ego leading to failure in a straightforward manner. Instead, it's a relationship of barricade, where our ego becomes a barrier in perceiving and learning from our mistakes. Our ego, coupled with its bloated sense of self-importance, twists our understanding of reality. It persuades us into believing that we're impeccable, that we're right every time. This false reality created by our ego hinders our ability to acknowledge our mistakes. And if we're unable to admit our mistakes, how are we supposed to learn from them? How are we to develop and evolve? The harsh truth is we can't. We find ourselves trapped in a pattern of repeated failure, unable to overcome our flaws. But the ego's detrimental effect doesn't stop there. It holds us back from learning, and it also anchors us in the past. Feeding on our past achievements, our ego makes us complacent and reluctant to embrace change. We start to assume that the methods which brought us success once will continue to do so, neglecting the ever-changing dynamics of life. Consequently, we become prisoners to our past, unable to adapt, innovate, and evolve. So what's the cure? How do we escape this destructive cycle? The solution lies in embracing humility, cultivating self-awareness, and accepting our flaws. We need to control our ego, to admit our mistakes, and to appreciate the lessons that come with them. We need to release our grip on past triumphs and failures, to live in the present moment, and to continually strive for progress. Failure, when viewed from a broad perspective, isn't negative. It's a stepping stone towards growth and a chance to learn. But our ego has the power to transform it into an unassailable hurdle. We must remember that failure isn't a final verdict. It's an opportunity to learn, grow, and evolve into improved versions of ourselves. Failure isn't a death sentence, but a stepping stone towards growth if we only allow ourselves to learn from it. Now let's delve into the danger of ego. Picture yourself holding a simple balloon. As you fill it with air, it starts to increase in size, becoming more noticeable, more prominent. But as this balloon enlarges, it also grows more susceptible to the risk of bursting. It becomes more fragile, its skin stretching thin, and it stands the risk of popping at the slightest contact with a sharp object. This seemingly simple balloon is an apt metaphor for the human ego. As it inflates, it can evoke a sense of invincibility, but it also turns increasingly delicate, susceptible to being punctured by the faintest criticism or minor failure. An unchecked ego is akin to an unruly animal that needs to be tamed. It grows wild and uncontrolled, leading its owner into a state of isolation. It inflates a false sense of superiority within us, making us feel as if we are unparalleled in our struggles, unmatched in our victories. This inflated sense of self can estrange us from others, leaving us abandoned on a self-created island of pride. With this self-imposed isolation, we distance ourselves from those who can give us much-needed perspective, from those who can lend a supportive hand, from those who can provide us reality checks. We shun these because our inflated ego makes us believe we are above needing such help. The unchecked ego is not just a creator of loneliness, it is also a breeder of narcissism. It deludes us into thinking that we are the sun around which the world revolves. This self-centric viewpoint can blind us to the needs, feelings, and concerns of others. It pushes us into a whirlpool of self-centeredness that further feeds and inflates the ego. Finally, an uncontrolled ego can hinder our ability to learn, to grow, to evolve. It plants in us the belief that we are omniscient, that there is no scope for improvement or betterment. This belief can lead to a state of stagnation, hindering us from reaching our true potential. It blinds us to our own flaws, our own shortcomings, stunting our personal and professional growth. In a nutshell, an unchecked ego is akin to a self-built prison, a cage we unknowingly construct around ourselves. It isolates us, breeds narcissism, and hampers our growth. It places us on a pedestal, blinding us to the realities that surround us. It deafens us to criticism, blinds us to our faults, and desensitizes us to the needs and feelings of others. Ego unchecked can indeed become our own worst enemy. The path to freedom, a journey away from the clutches of ego. Imagine a path that promises liberation from the burdens of ego, a path that is not blocked by unnecessary obstacles. It's a journey about self-discovery and growth, about embracing a sense of freedom from the chains that ego has wrapped around our minds. Our destination is a state of being where each footstep we take is light, where every decision is unclouded by the fog of ego-driven motivations. We are embarking on a transformative journey that will lead us to bask in the warmth of freedom, a freedom that liberates us from the shackles of our own ego. The roadmap guiding us through this exhilarating journey is laid out in the book Ego is the Enemy, a book that doesn't just point out the problems but also provides practical solutions, proposing several strategies to conquer the challenges posed by ego. It encourages us to be mindful, to be aware of our present, to fully immerse ourselves in what we are doing at the moment. Mindfulness is about being free from distractions, from judgment. It's about acknowledging our thoughts and emotions, but not letting them control us. It's about celebrating the simplicity of life, cherishing the everyday. This practice equips us with profound insights about ourselves and our ego, shedding light on how it sways our thoughts and actions. Another strategy the book champions is self-reflection. It's a practice akin to holding a mirror to our inner selves, scrutinizing our actions, motivations, and beliefs. It's about self-assessment, about being honest to ourselves. By self-reflecting, we can spot the areas where ego is steering the wheel, and we can consciously attempt to restrain it. However, the path we tread upon is not solely about introspection, but also about empathy. Empathy is our ability to comprehend and resonate with others' feelings. It's about stepping out of the self-made fortress of our ego and stepping into the minds of others. It's about viewing the world from a perspective that's not ours. Empathy helps us break free from the confines of our ego, enabling us to form deeper connections with others. Finally, this journey doesn't aim to obliterate ego completely. Ego is an integral part of our identity, but it doesn't have to dictate our actions. Our goal is to rein in the ego, to stop it from commandeering our lives. Freedom from ego isn't about losing our identity, but about finding our true selves beneath the layers of egoistic illusions. As we wrap up this journey into our ego's role, it's time to reflect. This deep dive into our consciousness has unveiled the intricate workings of our ego, an entity with vast power and influence over our lives. We have journeyed into the abyss of our minds, dissecting our dreams, victories, defeats, and the potential hazards our ego can pose. We've navigated the labyrinthine corridors of our psyche, revealing the path to liberation that lies within us all. The ego possesses an extraordinary force, propelling us to strive, reach higher, and break through our boundaries. Yet if we let it run rampant, it can become our downfall. It has the power to obscure the truths of our circumstances, entrap us in an unending loop of unquenchable desire, and can even steer us towards failure. Our journey began with the first chapter, Aspire, which unraveled the paradox of our aspirations. These can serve as a catalyst for our growth, yet they may also inflate our ego if we fail to exercise caution. The following segment, Success, illuminated the fact that even in triumph, our ego could lead us astray, causing complacency and arrogance. Delving further, the chapter on Failure exposed the harsh reality that our ego can turn into our most formidable adversary during challenging times. It may act as a barrier, hindering us from acknowledging our mistakes and inhibiting our growth. Chapter 4, The Danger of Ego, painted a vivid image of the potential pitfalls of a rampant ego. It has the capacity to instigate self-destruction and ruin, yet there exists a beacon of hope. The final chapter, The Path to Freedom, illustrated that by comprehending and managing our ego, we can liberate ourselves from its chains. The of self-improvement is arduous and requires an immense amount of self-awareness, humility, and discipline. The fifth chapter showed us that by gaining insights into and gaining control over our ego, we can mature, adapt, and unlock our hidden potential. To evolve and reach our pinnacle, we must discover how to use our ego as a tool for growth rather than allowing it to become a deterrent. The path is not easy, but the benefits of overcoming these obstacles are immense. By understanding and controlling our ego, we can transform into the best versions of ourselves. We can break the chains that limit us and soar high, powered by our dreams and aspirations, but kept in check by our humility and discipline. We're curious about your thoughts on ego's role in your life. Share your insights in the comments below, and remember, subscribe for more thought-provoking content like this.